can do there. All right, I think we are recording. Perfect. So welcome everybody to Back to Basics Growth, and from taking a month off, and I've been a stranger. Ian, I actually want to thank you. You've done such a fabulous job taking over. So tonight is like great fun because you and I get to share this hour, and we have Lothar, who no doubt, without a doubt, gets to have his slot and his say, whether it is in between, whether it is before or after. Lothar always comes in at the right time.
Let me just say one thing. Tonight is the third night of the process that we're doing, where it is enhanced by the factor of 3,000. So it's like in 1 hour, it's like 3,000 hours, or it's like you do the prayer or the meditation or this selfless act or charity or what have you. For if possible, bigger courses, then that is just like 3,000 people doing it for 1 hour, or I'm doing this.
Wow.
So this is happening for this month. It's the 4th time this year. It's usually happening 4 times a year. And it is called 12blessings.org for people who want to know more specific what it is.
Awesome, awesome.
And at 9 o'clock my time, which is 1.5 hours from now. Yeah, 10 yours.
Okay, 10 o'clock our time. Awesome. So basically,
shut up.
So basically, anything you do in the next couple of hours, guys, you do from your heart, and you do selflessly. So best you go make your loved one a cup of tea after this, or give them a hug, or say something nice, or phone a friend, or think a happy thought, and it'll be multiplied by 3,000 times. So I like those kind of things. So anyway, I wanted to welcome you tonight. Well, Lothar, thank you so much for taking your time and hopping onto our calls here. Ian, I want to thank you for pitching and for just really doing a fabulous job while I was away. So it's so nice to know I can go away more often. I must remember this. And anyway, but I'm back now, and I know Ian's got something really special that he wants to share with you, but I wanted to just give you some feedback on my trip on Bali, and just something that hopefully will make a difference in your day today. You know, I went on this trip. We kind of planted the seed about 6 months ago that we were going to go to Bali in October, and we were going to go for the month of October. And, you know, I thought there's no ways I'm going to be able to take a month off. You know, first of all, how am I going to afford it? Where am I going to find the time? I was house sitting, so how was I going to find someone to look after the house that I was house sitting? You know, what about work? What about this? What about that? I literally made every excuse that I could possibly make to stop myself from actually thinking that I could go to Bali for a month, that I was worthy of going to Bali for a month. And then I thought, you know what, forget this. You know, we learn from leaders or so. I learned the saying, say yes, tell the world, figure it out. And 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I said yes, told the world, figured it out with regards to moving to Cape Town. Cape Town was a lot bigger than planning a trip to Bali. So I literally said, I am going to move to Cape Town. I am living in Cape Town, and I had put a date on it, which was the 1st of November, 2016. I live in Cape Town, and I put that up on my fridge in Johannesburg. And literally on the 22nd of September, a couple of, 9 days or so before the 1st of October, it was the 1st of October, I moved down to Cape Town. I drove through the tunnel. So when the idea of Bali came out, I literally went to my diary and I blocked it out. I am in Bali for the month of October 2019. So I set that intention. Say yes. Then I told everyone I was going to Bali for the month of October. I told Andrew at work. I told all my colleagues. I told my family, friends. I said, yeah, I'm going to Bali for October. I looked at brochures. I went online. I surrendered to the idea that I was going to have my birthday in Bali. and I put a date on it. And, you know, all the concerns that I had beforehand with regards to how was I going to pay for this, how was I going to get a month off, finding the house sitter, you know, getting off work, you know, all the responsibilities I had, my kids, the whole lot. I acknowledged them right in the beginning. I pushed them aside. And Ian, can you mute? Can you do some muting there? Okay, thank you. So I acknowledged all the things that could restrict me. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to change the story. So I put them aside and I said, if I'm meant to be in Bali and I'm going to Bali, then it will all line up. But I had to believe that I was going to Bali. And by putting a date on it and telling everybody, the more I told people I was going to Bali, the more I believed I was going to Bali. And you know that every single thing lined up for that trip. Everything lined. Yeah, there were a couple of challenges here and there. But a friend of mine said to me, you know, I think she was moving house and everything, and she was in between. So I said, well, wouldn't you stay here in October? Would that work for you? She said, oh my word, you have no idea. Thank you so much. So Tracy moved in for the month of October. Okay, worked out perfectly. Everything lined up work-wise, because if I didn't have a leader in Ian in my business, then nothing would have moved or happened while I was away. But we've set up our businesses for things to actually happen while we're away. And while I was away, I still did land up doing some business anyway and signed up a few people just in my travels. Okay. My kids were fine. They've been writing exams. The finance all came through. Every single thing lined up because I said I was going to do it. I put a date on it. I let all the obstacles that could have stopped me fall away. I didn't even think of them. I just said, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to Bali. And it lined up. So I want you guys to be very aware when you do set intentions to do something. Number one, put a date on it. And then tell everyone you're going to do it. And paint that story of you doing it, and paint that story of you having even done it. It's like all part of you. And I promise you, you'll be so amazed at how things lined up. So when we got to Bali, even our trip to Bali, I mean, there were a few obstacles the first week before or the week before we left. There were a few obstacles, but those obstacles came straight into our pathway to align us back into, well, we're still going. We'll just, obviously something different, something slightly different is going to happen, or something better is going to happen. And so we had these obstacles. By the time we left, we actually got on the plane. I mean, we were so ready to go and so trusting that this trip would work out perfectly, exactly as it was meant to be. So number one, I left South Africa. I arrived in Bali with no itinerary, okay? We were meeting with Joe's daughter and son-in-law. Within an hour of actually driving through to Ubud, where we met them when we landed, I was given a scooter. I was told to go down the driveway, back up the driveway, and to get on, and now we're hitting the traffic. Now, if any of you actually go onto YouTube, go look for some Balinese or Indonesian scooter driving experiences, oh my gosh, is all I want to say is that it wasn't fun. It was, I was stuck with a helmet on my hair. I was so jet lagged. I had the complete wobbles. I had trucks around me, other scooter drivers, stray dogs crossing the road, deep trenches down the side of the road. I had my luggage strapped to my little scooter. I was so out of my comfort zone. We were going to this little villa we had hired in the back streets of Ubud, so beautiful on the rice paddies, but the roads were as narrow as, it was like a sideways shoebox, okay, with just your wheels had to be so straight on the thing. And these guys they've been on scooters since they were babies. I mean, the families go on the scooters in Bali. So my first day, as you obviously saw, for those of you who actually followed me on my trip, I had fallen once already down the paddy fields and into the mud. That was the first slide. But the second one, I fell really hard and I fell on my face. And if I hadn't had my visor down, I would have actually broken my nose. So my chin and my jaw took the brunt, and my hand and my knee and my foot. So what do? I'm a girl. I burst into tears. Of course I burst into tears. You know, and then in my head, I'm going, I cannot do this. I was swearing. I was going, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, and now what choice do I have? I got to stand up. I got to breathe, because the entire holiday we had hired the scooters for the month. My only alternative then was to actually get on a plane and fly home. So if ever there were times you were faced with a fear where you can actually, you don't have a choice, you have to suck it up, and you have to say, okay, clearly this is sent to me for a reason. I'm supposed to master these scooter skills. Anyway, I patchworked my face up, but for the next week, I mean, I looked like I had been in the ring with Mike Tyson. My chin was so blue. And my body repaired over the next sort of week to 10 days. And my mind now gets stuck in a helmet on a scooter on a road I don't want to go on. And anyway, so for the next day I had to practice, and I refused to do the narrow roads because I knew we were going out on the main roads and we were leaving town. And so eventually I had to drive out of the paddy fields, but I was a gibbering idiot and I was all over the place. But we got out of there and I survived that. And then we hit the big roads, and I don't know what was worse. Now we've got the trucks, and you've got all the locals, and they all go to work. When you go in for those roads, you've got like 100 scooters around you. You go. And of course, what do? I fall again in front of a truck this time. This truck's coming down a hill. Luckily, it was going slowly. Luckily, everyone stops. Are you okay? Get back up. My pride. I've got tears streaming down my face. I'm shaking again. I'm going, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to run away. I want to go and find a room. I want to curl in the corner. I want everyone to leave me alone. I'm not doing this. I like having an internal tantrum. But you know what? I had the tantrum. I sucked it up. And I thought, well, I don't have a choice. I've got to carry on. We're going on our trip. Guys, I got so challenged every day for the next few days. But the further we got out, then we left town, we landed up going to the north of Bali to a place called Lavinia on the scooters. And then we went down south, and we had no agenda. We decided if we liked the spot, we'd stay an extra night. And we landed up traveling, as I said, with Joe's daughter and son-in-law. Now, they're a young couple in their late 20s. And they had decided... They both qualified in animation at college, and very good at what they do. And they decided they wanted to travel the world, and as long as they could, for however, like no restrictions. So they registered, become English teachers. So they teach online, and they run a travel blog to teach people how to travel the world and earn money passively, like we do, and to experience life as they're earning, and how to live on a budget of 500 Rand a day for 2 people. So 250 Rand a day, all in. So Joe and I decided to join them. So not only now am I on the budget scooter for the month, okay, I'm now heading out of my comfort zone with 3 changes of clothes. I had a little like decorative blue backpack. I had 3 changes of clothes. I had my hair in a ponytail. There was like no hair dryers or anything glamorous like that. I had a pair of slops and a pair of like slip-on shoes, tacky things that I could do my cycle in. And here's the city girl now heading out for 3 weeks. Oh my word, was I out of my comfort zone. But I had made the decision that if I was going to get on that motorbike and I was going to go forward and I was going to ride out of town, then I was going to embrace and align up to this entire trip. And everything lined up. Everything lined up. We landed up getting hopelessly lost. We landed up on mountain roads, Joe skidding down the mountain, the flipping. We had grazers. We were dusty. It was 38 degrees, 92% humidity. I promise you, I learned to find my sense of humor, and I wrapped myself in my sense of humor because I didn't know what else to do. But I saw Bali in very, very different eyes, and I was incredibly grateful for the life that I do have back here in Cape Town. Bali is a beautiful country, but it is also, you see, we landed up seeing the places like the real life, the suburbs and the villages and things. It's also a very poor country, but nobody is unhappy. It is such a happy place. Everyone that live, most of it's rice paddies. A lot of the children don't go to schools and things, but they're playing around. There's stray dogs, and everybody is friendly. It was such an eye opener to see the outskirts and things. So when you're stuck with your own, when I was stuck with my head in this helmet and miles and hours on this little scooter, we used to stop at fruit stores and side roads to have meals, like 20, 30 rand a meal. And then we'd land up at this paradise little spot, which they had booked on booking online, and they know where to look. And you kind of look at this and think, oh, okay. And they open these doors, and you're in this little paradise behind the doors with beautiful gardens and stunning rooms. I think the most expensive room we had for the night was like 250 rand for the two of us, for an air-conditioned, stunning room, bed and breakfast. So we learned how to, we really tried. We blew the budget most days by a little bit because it just happened that way. It didn't work out, but we were close enough, and we had such fun doing this. So not when you, but I know with me, and whether you resonate with this or not, I totally surrendered to the situation. I could have made it a worse situation. I could have moaned and groaned right from the beginning. And it would have created momentum for the rest of the trip to be an absolute disaster. I can guarantee you that. But right from the beginning, I had made the decision already. I was going to Bali. I had put a date on it. So I knew that when we did go to Bali, I was meant to be in Bali. And all these obstacles were just fears that I was facing. And probably the most uncomfortable, other than the scooter ride, was spending hours alone with yourself in a helmet. And in a helmet, when first of all I was very shaky still on the scooter for lots of days after my fall. And you've got to spend time, like I'm navigating, I'm keeping my balance, I'm watching the traffic, I'm trying to sightsee, my bum is sore, your conversation, it's hot, conversations going on in your head. And I made a decision. I did a lot of singing to myself. Like, I'm not very good at me remembering the words, but I was upping, I was doing all my little mantras, I was singing, I was having serious discussions. I was really having a good talking with self. So I'm not sure how many of you actually spend time on your own, and even in your car, turn your radio off. How about headspace? So I'm going to challenge you to start keeping your radios off in your car. I never actually have mine on. And start, everything quietens down, and you actually spend time with yourself, having discussions with yourself. And it's a form of meditation. I mean, I had a full-on meditation around Bali for 3 weeks. It was a very interesting experience, especially being challenged on that scooter. So, Ian, how am I doing for time? Because I want to, 5 more minutes and then I'll pass on to you. Basically, those lessons that I learned with, setting the intention with the headspace were massive lessons that came out for me, traveling around, trusting and completely surrendering to the experience with such gratitude and with such a sense of humor. We landed up meeting the most incredible people. We landed up staying in the most wonderful places. We ate all the local food. When we got back to Ubud, we went adventuring around looking for new places and restaurants. I went for the most incredible massage. And it's something now that I realize coming back, is, you know, years ago I qualified as a baby massage instructor, and touch is one of the most important things that a human being, you know, your skin is your biggest organ on your body, and the experiments of children that are not nurtured and touched, more children actually, fatalities are in them. You see these newborns, these prems that are put on their mums, and their survival rate is so much more than just being left alone. So touch is so important. A lot of people don't like it, and it's something that I always did with my boys when they were little babies. They were always massaged, and as toddlers they used to like draw on their back and play with their feet, and now even, you know, they thoroughly enjoy whether they, you know, come and plonk on the couch and stick their feet on me. I'll always, you know, play with their toes or rub their feet or something. They touch enables, or it activates, actually activates communication. It creates a safe space where you want to express yourself. And I was longing for a massage. I don't know if any of you are into going for a massage at all. But it's something you should treat yourself, even if it lands up being a foot massage or a hand massage or just a neck and back. You know, it's so important to get that circulation going. It's so important to actually surrender to and get those muscles going and circulation. So I had a full-on hour and a half healing massage, and it was in my budget. That we weren't allowed to eat that day, so I could go for the massage. No, that didn't really happen. I just kind of splashed out a bit. But I had a healing massage. It was the most painful massage I've ever had in my life. I think all my bruises he pummeled me proper, but it was a proper Balinese healing massage. And it was so special. And that then led to I went for an incredible healing session with one of the healers there in Bali. So if any of you ever go to Bali, I'm going to urge you, I'm going to give you a number. You're going via Made first for your first hour before you do anything, because it has released a lot in me, and I got through the rest of my trip alive and well, and I came back with a very full heart and a very rested soul. And I faced that fear of that scooter and the traffic. By the end of it, I was like, you know, daredevil on my scooter. I was like Hurricane Hellraiser. I was freewheeling with arms up and things. Not really, but I was a lot more confident at the end. So I'm very confident that I would be able to drive a scooter again. And it reiterated or reconfirmed that setting intentions and putting dates on, you know, for those of you who are setting goals and things, but really, really, really want to do something, you know, that trip that you've been delaying, or even planning a weekend away, doing something little, get something moving, the juices going. Put a date on it. Say, I'm going, let's go fishing, or let's go camping, or let's do that picnic we said we wanted to do. Let's go for that weekend away to visit so-and-so. Put a date on it. Stop delaying things for yourself that you could be doing, and spending that time with family and loved ones, and getting your adventure juices going again. Everybody's so stuck at home, online, working, normal routine. You know, you've got to get things moving. If you want things to get moving in your life, you've got to get moving. So put a date on a break. Go for a break, even if it's, you know, something that you've been wanting to do, a hike, a cycle, a walk, a beach walk. Put a date on it and say, we are going, and then watch and tell everyone, hey, we're going away for the weekend. We're going there, or we're doing this, or then get moving. And for those of you who love massages and haven't done it for a while, you know, if you've got a birthday, Christmas is coming up, why don't you ask for something different? Ask for that massage. Or even as if you're in a couple or whatever, you know, give each other a neck massage or foot massage or something. It's so special. And I've now totally and absolutely committed to myself that once a month I will be going for for a proper healing massage or deep tissue massage to keep circulation and everything going, especially with traveling. Hey, it really gets to you. So I'm now going to do that as a gift to me, because I'm worthy of it, is to have that massage. And now, of course, I need to book. I want to go back to Bali next year. I'm busy writing a book. And so I actually want to go back to the Gili Islands we went to, because I've set this business up to go and spend a couple of months. There's internet, I can work from there, but I really want to focus on this book of mine. And so that is the plan, and I'm going to put a date on it. And then we will see. I've just told you all whether how many there are of you, but that is definitely going to happen. And so, all right. So that's all I wanted to say to you. And before I pass you over to Ian, thank you for listening to me. I've got a million stories to tell you. I might tell you a story a week coming up, just to start off. But it really was a very special experience. So thank you for listening in. Lothar, I know you're dying to say something. I can see you.
Just only one thing. You had to be so you could leave. That's why you had to believe. So everything had to come to your be. You had no other chance, so that you could leave.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally flowed out of here.
And I'm not dying to say something, because I'm still here to live. So shut up with your stupid sayings. I'm dying.
You're wanting, you're loving, you're living.
Life you want to say. And Ian,
totally.
I'm so curious what you are going to share with us. But one thing, you have changed. Not Ian. Susie.
Thanks, Lothar.
But you will agree. Let's look at Susie. Susie, say something so that you get back on the picture.
Oh, I'm here. I'm busy listening.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you're back, right? So you've changed.
Okay.
From in the future, take a picture before and after. This is so obvious. This is so freaking obvious. And what's shining from within you is shining through you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's I really thank you for that. It was a life-changing experience, just literally taking time out for me, and spending all that time in my own space, and also just doing very humble and appreciative. It was just such a different holiday. It was so different to going off to flashy hotels and things. We had sunsets and hammocks and I mean, it was really just so random and so surprise and wonderful snorkeling. We didn't plan any of it. So now I know the places to go, and I realize the holidays and places that where you get to spend quiet time, you're not always rushing, and you're open to growing and learning and what have you. And that's what I was going over. Bali is a very healing place, and a very special place indeed, to sort of beautiful energy there to surrender to. So next time you're going away, just surrender to having fun and see how it unfolds with no agenda. It really is special. So I do feel different. I feel my heart is very full. I'm very grateful. And lots went down that trip. So Lothar, you and I will definitely catch up. It was really good. Okay, so now I've spoken enough. Now you get in the classroom with Professor Ian.
Yeah. Pressure, no pressure. Yeah, so on my trip back from Johannesburg a couple of weeks ago, I had 2 hours on the plane, and I just had this desire to create a PowerPoint presentation. And so I quickly put 2 slides together, and then was it yesterday or the day before? Yesterday morning, I had a friend come see me, and we were having a conversation, and I've been sort of giving her guidance over some time now. And we started having a conversation, and I found that I started repeating the stuff that I'd put in the presentation. And I actually took it out and showed her, and I showed Susie yesterday. So we decided that I'd quickly run through it with you. And it's about what I call the 3 steps to abundance. So let me quickly jump on and load that for you. Just tell me if you can see the presentation.
It's coming up now. I can see you working with your mouse.
Is there a white screen there?
There's a screen and the blue screen saying I'm here.
Okay, cool, great. All right, so that's basically where we are. So I'm here. So I'm stuck in the system. I've got no interest in educating self, and then something happens to me, or
Ian, it's just a white screen. We can't actually see. Oh, wait, hold on.
No, actually, you can see it. So
I think I must just change my positioning of
change the where you have the video pictures. Just take them to the side, and then you can
move everything to the left side, Susie.
There we go.
Okay.
Whoever can't see, I'm just trying.
Okay, so you.
There we go.
Okay, can you just check the chat window and make sure that everybody else can see it? I can't see the chat window from here. And then let me know.
I'll check. Let me do it. There's nothing in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Okay, as long as everyone can see.
All right, well, Lotte, you can see it, and Susie, you can see it. So essentially, I'm here, and I'm possibly stuck in a system, in a routine, in a comfort zone, and there's nothing really that's got me interested in changing. And then I get exposed to an opportunity, like, for instance, carrot bars, and suddenly there's a desire to change. Then this is where I think I want to be. So I get exposed to some information, and I want to move and advance forward. But there's certain blockers that appear. This is what is possible in the end. I can't get to what is. Okay, can you mute?
Yeah, it was Catherine. It's okay now. Everybody is.
Okay, there we go. All right, so I've unmuted myself. I found the control. So this is the 3 steps. I'm here. This is where I think I want to be based on my current system. And depending on my vibration and where I am in life, I often can't see further than the next step. And what's waiting for me is what is possible. I can't get there until I get to where I think I want to be. And there's certain things that block me from getting there. There's a blocker here. And some of the blockers are focusing on my current reality. So the law of attraction says that which I hold in mind, I manifest. So if I'm focusing on my reality, and for argument's sake, let's say I'm in a dead-end job and I hate my job, and I keep focusing on the fact that I don't like my job and I don't enjoy what I'm doing, I keep manifesting the same thing over and over again. So what I think is I want to get a new job. So that's where I focus on. And until I can focus on something that makes me feel good, I will keep experiencing my current reality. So this is where the law of attraction is very powerful and very important, is that which we hold in mind, we manifest. And it's all about how we feel. So vibrationally, how we feel. So if we can imagine, like Susie said, she put an intention out there. She imagined what it would feel like to go to Bali, and she set a date, and then it manifested in her life. If she had manifested on the fact that she didn't have enough money and she wasn't going to make it, then she would never have been able to go. So the 3 steps are: I am where I am. I'd like to go where I think I want to go to, and I have to get there by doing certain things. And one of the things that I have to do is to make sure that I'm not too concerned what others think of me. So quite often when we're trying something new, we're stepping out of the box, we're stepping out of our comfort zone, and we often don't take that step because we're concerned what our spouse will think, what our family will think, what our friends will think, what society will think of us. And until we let go of that and take a step out of that comfort zone, and I heard the other day, you take a 1% step out of your comfort zone to get the momentum going, to get you going forward. And then we become what I call a personal development junkie. And this is where this business, Carrot Bars, is so great, or any network marketing businesses. It's like I often say, it's a personal development business wrapped up, or personal development course wrapped up as a business. So personal development is really key. And personal development means focusing internally and making sure that we focus on what we want. We don't know what is possible until we get to the level of the next step. So Abraham Hicks talks about, says, you can't get there from there. So you have to go to the next step, all right? Gradually get get the momentum going in a positive way, and slowly moving forward to where you want to go. And then obviously, if you want to get to the next step, there is a blocker. And this blocker is your limiting beliefs and lack of experience. And I'm going to talk about this experience now on the next slide. It's sort of a 7-step process. These limiting beliefs are what we're born with. And that it's a simple concept to let go of limiting beliefs. However, it's not that easy. We've been taught through Abraham's teachings that a belief is just a thought that we repeat continuously. So if we hold that thought in mind, we'll manifest that. So change the thought. Teach yourself to change the thought. And we do that through personal development and through meditation, which I'll speak a little bit about in the next step. And Susie's spoken about meditation. Lotus spoken about meditation. And then when we get to the level that we are, this is where we think we want to be, and we can let go of these limiting beliefs and the lack of experience and get experience, which I'll cover in the next slide, then we can manifest this abundance and health, wealth, and relationships through applying the laws of the universe. So that's just a very simple introduction to the 3-step process. It's very, very much, many people when they start a personal development journey, especially people that take a very deeply spiritual path, they try to get to the 3rd step too quickly. They think, oh, the 3rd step is possible. You know, if you look at many of the experienced meditators around the world that have been doing, to look at Tibetan monks for argument's sake, have been meditating for 20, 30, 40 years, and they've achieved a certain level, and they talk about this level, and we start learning in the beginning, and we think, well, that's what I want. But you can't get there from where you are. You have to go slowly through these steps. And the way you do that is through personal development. And then the next slide. So education is very powerful and very important. And I love this definition of the word education. It comes from the Greek word edukos, which means to draw forth from within. And what that means is that everything you need to know is actually inside you. It's there, it's permanently available. We've just put limiting beliefs on top of it. So we've resisted, and we resist that. And the minute we start unpacking these limiting beliefs and let go of this resistance that Abraham talks about, that channel opens up, and we discover that, you know, I don't know if anyone's had a aha moment or a light bulb moment sitting in a room and somebody says something and you go, aha. Well, all that happened is that in that instant, the resistance disappeared and the information appeared from within. It wasn't new information that came from without in, it's coming from within out. So education is very important. And now the way to get to education leads to knowledge. Now often people say, oh, knowledge is power. Well, actually it's not. It's not. You need the knowledge, but only once you apply the knowledge does that give you power in anything that you're doing, right? Applied knowledge then leads to experience. So experience, words don't teach, experience does. It's something that I learned very key from what Abraham Hicks has taught us, is you can have all the power, all the knowledge in the world, but if you never apply it, you'll never get the experience. So listening and hearing people say something and talking about it until you actually apply the knowledge. You know, I've often had, in fact, I wrote a blog a few years ago about is that I hate people that say, well, not hate is a strong word, but I resist people that say, I know that. You know, you say to somebody, you know, if you did this and this and this, that possibly, oh, no, I know that. But if you knew that, then you would have applied it. And that's the key. People often, and this is the point about experience, is that we have to apply the knowledge, just not have the knowledge. Something I learned early on in life was I met an extremely knowledgeable professor and at a technicon, and he had never worked in the real world. So he didn't have real world experience, but he had all the knowledge. He had never applied his knowledge. So the skill set that he couldn't teach us the experience of what it was like to apply economics or accountancy in the real world. He had the knowledge, but had never applied it. And that's something that stuck in my mind for many, many years. So once we have experience, that leads to wisdom. And it's only when we bump our heads that we learn, well, you know, if you put your hand you know, someone can tell you, don't put your hand on a hot plate, it's going to burn. So when you go and put your hand on the hot plate, which many of us do as kids, we often don't listen to our parents, you burn your hand. And then, now the next time someone turns a plate on, don't put your hand on the plate. And that's where we gain the wisdom. And wisdom leads to clarity. And clarity is very important, because clarity is that step between points 2 and 3 on the previous slide, is that it allows you to see what you need, what you want, and what you desire in a clearer way. So clarity gives you the ability and exposure to a vibration higher than ourselves that we have access to see what our full potential is. And this leads to abundance and fulfillment. And just to add to that, one of the ways to do that is through daily meditation. It's the most powerful tool set that there is. And I know that Lotte is going to share some information with us now, and I'm putting him on the spot because I've given him a lot of cues here that I know that he can share some information specifically around daily meditation and how powerful it is. So yeah, that's very briefly in a quick sort of 10-minute rundown of these 2 slides that I put together that I thought I'd share with people. Yeah, so if there are any questions, fire away. Comments from Susie and Lotte, are more than welcome. I'm gonna, I'll stop sharing now. There we go.
And that's awesome. Well, awesome, Ian. It's so nice to see how other brains putting things down on paper. I mean, I find it so important putting my brain down on paper. I've got my big flip chart that I put ideas down, and then you see how the roadmaps go. It's so awesome. And it brings me where your first slide there was like, a lot of people know ask, believe, receive, but they only believe once they actually have received it, but it's the other way around. You've got to ask, I want to go to Bali. I'm going to Bali because I believe it, and therefore it arrived. So ask, believe, receive, is how you manifest.
I like that,
yeah.
I like that.
So
I'm going to make a note of that. Thanks.
But most people go the other way around. They ask, then they want to see it before they believe it. You just got to know that.
Well, that's exactly the point. I mean,
so taking the resistance down is kicking into the belief system.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, you would have experienced that in this business as well with carrot bars. People want to see the phone before they want to buy it, so they don't believe it until they see it.
It's anything in life, anything in life. So anyway, that was awesome. Thank you. Fantastic. Definitely made so much sense, and it's so nice to see how people's brains are put down on paper and in little blocks. The techno guys. Well done, thank you. Okay, Lotte, are you there?
Yeah, I'm actually speaking. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So I put in the chat box as you were speaking, as both of you were speaking. I put some comments there. And so it started with you had to be.
I like it,
you had to be to leave. And that's everything that you put on the chart is the same thing. And of course, the one I'm blue by you, I'm born to be wild pertains to the part of the story that Susie, you were sharing. And you have a massage because you have a message. Because as you massage the energies, as you say, the juices get flowing, then something from within can also come out. And sometimes the massage will help the message to come out. Then I had to say, Susie, mute yourself because your mic was scratching while you were holding your hand like this. So thank you for adhering to that. To resist it means to rest it. In order to get over resisting, you have to rest it. It's always, the truth is always in the words. So, and I was in Johannesburg not too long ago, totally unplanned, and John and Eugenie took the chance with another couple to take me out to the Buddhist temple, to Nanhua. And as we were driving back, they were sharing and we were talking, and all the signs on the streets came up again, the very famous Lotte experience that you can have. Ian, one day you will have that. And they were just saying, you know, you must have taken this tour last night and placed all these billboards there because they're so appropriate and all the cars coming by in the right moment. This is leading to something that I want to, which is also pertaining Ian to what you said. And so go out on the ledge to know. So you said you have to apply it, not just a mental statement, but you have to apply it. So knowledge is to know by going on the ledge. And the ledge is always the tipping point. You know, on the ledge, you always start moving because it will tip. You know, once you go on the ledge, it will tip. So you have to move. And of course, love in action now is what wisdom is all about. I want to share a short story, what happened to me just recently. And this is a teaching story, because it's way beyond what could have been planned. So I was scheduled to fly to Buenos Aires in Argentina, and we did, and the whole flight was what it was. And as we wanted to land, we couldn't because there was really, really bad weather. And on the 747, big plane, it doesn't really get too bad, but it really got bad. So people were screaming, and it was in such a way that we had to fly out of the weather. We couldn't land, and we had to circle, and then we had to land somewhere because after 14 hours in the plane, fuel was getting short. So we had to land in a place called Rosario. Funny enough, it was the first time that 747 landed there and that a Lufthansa landed there. So Rosario is the rosary. So there's the first clue, right? And it's also the birthplace of Che Guevara. I didn't know that. Anyway, so we had to have 6 hours on the ground with the guests. So we were 20 hours in the plane by the time, and we could not continue working because legally we were not allowed to fly the plane anymore. And to be, you know, and we had another couple of hours. Eventually, the passengers could get off the plane, little stairs, and we had to do it in little groups. And they went to the airport building because there was a restaurant. But it was just it was a small airport, not catering for the big planes. So what happened, we had to wait for the crew, the other Lufthansa crew that was in Buenos Aires, 4.5 hours away, 300 kilometers away, to be brought by bus to Rosario. But what I'm sharing now is the following, and this is where this story goes really crazy. 240 passengers, prisoners, before we let them come out of the plane. So once they were out, I sealed off the first class and told my colleagues not to disturb me, which they respected. And so I was then sitting in the very first class chair, and I was doing the 12 blessings, something I'm going to do in 1.5 hours from now. Now, as I was doing this, the realization hit me that we had, as a plane, we had to be diverted, full house, for the first time with all the obstacles. You know, they couldn't get the fueling attached to the wing and many, many things, too many details. So I had the opportunity to be there. Nobody disturbed me. And right smack in the middle of the 12 blessings, the realization came. We got diverted to this place, Rosario, so that I could be there to practice the 12 blessings, so that the people, there were a few people in Rosario, they were praying to God for a miracle. They needed a miracle. But because of karmic laws, there had to be somebody who is born in a physical form to do the prayers, to open the gates so that their prayers could be answered. So the karma of my being brought there, and the karma of 240 passengers being stuck you know, many of them had to fly to other destinations, really big thing and very expensive for the company. All this had to happen because somebody was praying for a miracle. And this then unfolded. Everything else, the rest of the story is a fun story. Everything worked out in the end. It was fine, just like Susie's story, and where in the end, when you, in hindsight, when you look back, everything is just fine and everything is perfect. So could we have planned for that? No. So sometimes when the picture is bigger, and of course, daily meditation helps in order to rest it. I always say, you know, we love to say shit. Susie, what do I say? How do I teach the shit thing? Shh it. Shut your thoughts up. Shh it. Instead of just throwing out and spitting out the word shit, because it comes so easy. And when we spit out the word shit, then of course, according to Abraham, what happens? What you spew out is what you get. So when you shh it, you rest it, you resist no more, you rest it to be in the flow, even for the big things that are beyond your personal planning of wanting to be on an island. And yet, and this is the fun part of this evening, where there is your story, Susie, with how you clearly made a point. And clearly, according to Abraham, yeah, Claire, you make a point and we deliver. But then you have to trust. And trust means us. You know, it's us in the middle of it, in the trust. So for us to get moving and to be moving in the experience, I'd be very curious for your many, many stories that you'll be sharing with us, and Ian, same thing there. And as we calm our our thoughts, our emotions, then through discipline, the clarity comes and opens the gate for love, which we put in action, and love in action is wisdom. So it gets back to what you were sharing, Ian. And all these stories come together into one point. Again, the word trust, you, us, is all of us together this evening. We're all of this, we're all in it together. With all the stories and all the world and from within South Africa, and with the experiences as you're sharing your golden moments and your golden nuggets in this case at this time. So this is really beautiful. So thank you for both of you to share. And if anyone else wants to pitch in, please do that. And I can give very specific answers concerning meditation and the like, but only if you ask me. I just wanted to share that story because it is somewhat a bigger story, which is very, in hindsight, very, very clear. Like the 3 weeks in Bali, in hindsight, it's utterly and absolutely, it all had to happen just this way.
Totally. Oh, Lothar, thank you. I so love listening to you, and we speak for hours at times. So I really thank you for your input there and for sharing. And I really hope those of you who are on the call and for those of you who are on the recording, that you have benefited from this. They've been 3 angles of pretty much the same thing, of quieting your mind, of not resisting, of trusting the flow. And if crappy things happen to you, it's all about how you embrace it and surrender to it, and not fight it and say, okay, there's obviously a reason for this. I'm going to keep a smile on my dial and see how this unfolds. And so with your plane experience, you anchored. I'm very consciously aware of how I anchor into my happy and into my emotions now. It's not, it's like an anchor, like I'm not going anywhere. This is it. And then trusting that everything is going to work out, like everything is going to work out. And it does. And it's become a habit now. So, so I trust you have all had an amazing, not an amazing, an incredible evening with us. I've learned that as well. I'm not allowed to use the word amazing because it's like a maze of thoughts all over. So an enlightening evening with the three of us, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. And I hope you take time and re-listen to this, if you know the three different teachings in tonight's session. And I thank you, Ian. I thank you, Lothar, for your time, and I thank all of you who've taken time to join our different angle, personal development and growth, because this is the way I believe the real stuff is the way how we change, not from necessarily just from books, but by actually it's those deep feeling stuff, that deep feeling juices that we have, that we need to stick up moving, not the theory anymore. It's time to be practical and actually make practical decisions on how we react. And so thank you very much. Lothar, thanks for your time, and appreciate it. I will post the recording out to you all, and we will see you same place next week. Not sure what the theme will be, but there will be stories being told, and hopefully, not hopefully, I believe you will feel happier when you press when you close down the calls, because I always feel amazing. Not amazing. I feel wonderful, incredible, enlightened. When I finish these calls, I get such a kick out of sharing things with you and learning myself, like expanding every day. I strive to just be better and better at something, even if it's just my happy. Yeah. So all good.
Just
Thanks.
One very short question. What happened to the feather and to Joe and the feather? Do you know anything about it?
He's got the feather with him. He's in Johannesburg with his feather.
Okay.
So it is with his other big feather.
Oh, good.
Safely in its feather container.
Thanks,
okay,
Susie. Thanks, Lothar. Thanks for your input.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. And to all of you who were here this evening, fantastic. Pass this on if you have to. Cool bananas. Good night, everyone. See you next week.
Good night. Cheers. Bye.